No mean feat. Meet three investigators who tell us about their experiences. That's after the break. Do join us again.
Ever wondered who the people responsible for piecing together the clues left in the wreckage of a plane crash actually are? When it comes to planning investigations into major aeroplane crashes in Nigeria, such as the Dana crash of June 2012 and the Associated Airlines of October 2013, all of which involved a tremendous loss of life, nothing can be left to chance. In Nigeria, aeroplane crashes come under the domain of the Accidents Investigation Bureau, AIB, which is responsible for the investigation of civil aircraft accidents and serious incidents. But taking up a job as an investigator requires quite an amount of experience.
It's a long way. Started a long time ago, maybe about 40 years ago. And as an aircraft maintenance engineer, transformed over time to flight engineer, and from flight engineering on into accident investigation. It's all about telling you that most of the things we did when we were online flying, now is the time to see that you did a lot of things wrong and you're out there to correct it.
In aviation, accident will happen when it will happen. And since we are operating an equipment that is faster than the brain, you have to ensure that you are matching the brain, the speed. And that is the reason why you are not allowed to guess. Everything has to be by the book, whether as a pilot or as an engineer. You have to refer to your checkbook, to your checklist. You have to refer to your maintenance manual, so that you have to do the right thing. And in aviation, since there is no perfect human being, mistakes are likely to happen.
And there are days when the job demands a tough call.
Well, take the wings aviation crash in Cross River State. It was hectic, going up the mountains. In fact, I don't want to mince word here. Even the police commissioner that went with us collapsed. He had to be revived because it wasn't that easy.
In the years of my accident investigation, every accident is unique. Anyone you consider very challenging, you see the next one as also very all of them. There is no little accident that you can say this one is the most challenging, though you have issues, especially in gathering information, in management of information, writing the reports, in presentation of what actually happened to the public. It has to be done by the rules.
Emotions could also run high.
Yeah, the Dana. Why? It is because I handled the human aspect of it. The bodies, that's the victims. So I had, to be with the bodies. I was at the mortuary at every point in time. Relate with the families of the victims. We had several meetings with the Lagos State government, with the relatives and families of and friends of the victims, and seeing the emotion, you feel that something has really happened. So people outside may think that we don't have feelings. We have feelings because we are pilots, we are engineers, we have friends, and we know that if by our action or inaction we commit one error, it can lead to the loss of valuable lives, and who knows whether even my family or my relatives could be The next person.
In the long run, the goal of any accident investigation is to ensure that similar accidents do not occur in the future.
The modern marvel of human flight has amazed the world since its inception. These advancements in technology have made world travel quick and easy, effectively shrinking the Earth and hastening globalization. However, the scientific marvel of flight still has its problems. Despite the advanced technology, flight accidents, though increasingly rare, happen. As those who fear flying will be quick to explain, there are many ways a flight can go wrong, from inclement weather to mechanical or electric failure, pilot error to suicide missions and terrorist threats. Despite all this, some flight incidents may never be fully explained. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. En route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing in the early morning of March 8, 2014, flight MH370 lost contact with air traffic control, disappeared from radar, and vanished without a trace. The Boeing 777 was carrying 239 people, 227 passengers, 12 crew from 15 countries. Search and rescue crews assembled from 12 countries searched the Strait of Malacca and the South China Sea before spreading the search to Andaman Sea on March 12. Almost a year after, and no trace of the aircraft, it's been declared an accident. Air France Flight 447, 5 days of agony and more. On June 1, 2009, Air France Flight 447 departed from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, on its way to Paris, France. The flight, an Airbus A330, carrying 228 people, 216 passengers and 12 crew, crashed into the Atlantic Ocean with no survivors. It took 5 days to find the first sign of the wreck, where search and rescue teams found a floating section of the plane's tail. It took another 2 years until the rest of the wreckage was found on the ocean floor, 2 miles below the water surface. Of those 228 people, 74 were never recovered. Yet another year later, the report was finally published with conclusion that the weather was a major factor in the crash. Investigators believe that ice crystals broke the autopilot by blocking speed sensors and causing the plane to stall. A Boeing 727 went missing from the airport in Luanda, Angola on May 25, 2003. The plane had been sitting at the airport for over a year after being decommissioned from its commercial airline use. The seats had been removed from the plane and the paint job was nondescript. It is unknown how many people were aboard the plane when it went missing, and the aircraft's transponder had been shut off with no authorization at takeoff. The pilot was probably then Charles Padilla of the United States, who had been working on restoring the plane. Padilla went missing at the same time the plane did, along with John Michael Butantu from the Congo. Communications with the plane ended after a request to land in the Seychelles, but it never did. A few months later, There were reports of a sighting of the plane over Conakry, Guinea, but it turned out to be another plane. The FBI and other intelligence agencies searched for the plane. What happened to the plane and Padilla remains a mystery.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCA) has been asked to revise the mandatory 18-month timeline, giving operators to carry out C-check on all aircraft flying in the country. This is coming from the chairman of Air Peace, Mr. Allen Oyema. He believes that the NCAA, in the place of the 18 months maintenance, should adopt the 4,000 flying hours timeline obtainable in the United States of America. He noted that the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration requires major aircraft to go for C-check after they have flown about 4,000 hours. Worried about the huge capital flight these checks cost most local airlines, he said it was time government granted approval to some domestic carriers to set up their aircraft maintenance hangar to create jobs and enhance indigenous skills in aeronautical engineering. On the foreign scene, global airlines raised their forecast for 2015 industry profits by more than 17% to $29.3 billion this week. Almost doubling that from last year and heralding a boom for carriers in North America that stand to reap half of the total value. The International Air Transport Association IATA, announcing the upgrade during a gathering of 260 member airlines, said lower oil prices were the main factor pushing the industry further into the black. But the windfall could be muted by the rise in the value of the dollar and widespread airline fuel hedging. He said the industry's average net profit margin would almost double to 4% from last year's 2.2%. Newsflash winds down with researchers saying they have identified a new way to produce aviation fuel from sugarcane biomass that could deliver substantial cuts in greenhouse gas emissions. According to the team, the source crops could be grown on marginal land to avoid displacing food production. They added that the development of renewable liquid fuels was critical to reduce global reliance on petroleum and help mitigate climate change. The findings appeared in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Commercial flights have been able to use biofuel since 2011, but the development of a reliable biofuel that can be scaled up to a level that can be used by the world's commercial airlines has proved somewhat elusive. That's our package for this week. Our feedback platforms are open for your comments and suggestions. I'm Bukola Joe Ketumbi. Thanks for watching.